Hi, my name is Matt Law, and today we're going to be talking about the wonderful gun control debate that is going around our country. Gun control is a hot topic with many pros and cons. Today, I'll be presenting both sides. Before I get too far into the conversation, I think it's necessary to recall exactly what the Second Amendment says, since it is pertinent to this discussion and our rights as Americans. The Second Amendment, though not in its entirety, says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That being said, let's go discuss the pros for gun control. Guns don't need to be so easily accessible. Many would argue that guns don't need to be so easily accessible, since the Second Amendment is not an unlimited right to own guns. This argument can be easily supported. For people in the United States, we are able to access any type of gun for any manner of things. We would have a big problem. Since people are already able to obtain a gun so easily, if we were to keep going in that direction with laws for gun control, eventually guns would be in the hands of everyone. Second one, more laws for gun control would mean fewer deaths. The study from researchers at Columbia, New York, Boston, and the University of Pennsylvania analyzed states' mass shooting rates, the permissiveness of their firearm laws, and levels of gun ownership from 1998 to 2015. It then tested each of these to see if there was a link. The result, where there are more guns, there are more mass shootings, and where gun laws are weaker, there are more mass shootings. If we conform to this ideology, then gun control laws are not only necessary, but of dire importance in order to keep the population alive. If people are inherently bad, then we must take action. Large capacity magazines turn murder into mass murder. Large capacity magazines give active shooters with ill intent the ability to fire their weapon longer and therefore kill more people. The most common rationale for an effect of large capacity magazines use is that they allow mass killers to fire many rounds without reloading. If we continue to allow large capacity magazines to exist, then we are arguably allowing the chance for mass murder by shooting to exist. Stricter gun laws would protect people from domestic abusers. In the United States, more than 1 in 3 women report experiencing abuse from a partner in their lifetime. The effects of this abuse are far-reaching, impacting not only individual victims, but also their families, their communities, and our economy. When domestic abusers have access to guns, the effects can be deadly. This nexus between guns and domestic violence makes the U.S. the most dangerous country for women compared to other high-income countries. If domestic violence has risen because of the availability people have to guns, then we are doing a disservice to those that are abused. By taking a stand against guns and instituting better gun control, we would be helping protect those that are in bad relationships that fear for their lives because of guns. And gun control laws would reduce the societal costs associated with gun violence. Firearm violence in the United States is costly and avoidable. From 2006 to 2014, the cost of initial hospitalizations for firearm-related injuries averaged $734.6 million per year. Medicaid paid 1/3, and self-pay patients 1/4 of the financial burden. These figures substantially underestimate true healthcare costs. If we had better laws, we would have a lower cost associated with gun violence. And now the arguments against gun control. Second Amendment protects individual gun ownership. Gun ownership has been around for a very long time. Some might even say it's a tradition. Since the Second Amendment protects the ownership of guns, people can have them in their homes and use them for hunting. Some would say that if we had more laws regarding gun ownership, that we would be infringing on the right to bear arms. More laws for gun control does not mean less crime. More gun ownership means less crime. If we are able to defend ourselves, we are more likely to survive. Assault weapons ban did not significantly affect murder rates at the state level, and states with restrictions on the carrying of concealed weapons had higher gun-related murders. More gun control laws would be an infringement on self-defense. According to the NRA, guns are used for self-defense 2.5 million times a year. If we are able to defend ourselves because we have access to these weapons, if we didn't have that access because of stricter gun policy, we would not have the ability to protect ourselves or our families. That would directly infringe on my rights as a human to self-defense. Laws banning assault rifles and other guns infringe on the right to hunt and use guns for sport. According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in 2011, there were 13.7 million hunters 16 years old or older in the United States. And they spent $7.7 billion on guns, sights, ammo, and other hunting equipment. If we had more laws, we would be taking away the fun and right of hunting and sport, not to mention the revenue that the country receives because of this. Having more laws won't prevent criminals from having guns or breaking the law. In 62 separate mass shootings between 1982 and 2012, 49 of those shooters obtained guns illegally. Obtained guns legally. As far as more gun control and large capacity magazines, LCMs are known to have been used in less than 1/3 of 1% of mass shootings. News accounts of 23 shootings in which more than 6 people were killed or wounded, and LCMs were known to have been used, occurring in the United States in 1994 to 2013, were examined. In closing, because our sinful nature as humans, there will always be those that stumble. When we hear about bad things happening, especially when lives of many are lost or damaged at the hands of a few, we need to remind ourselves that people are generally good. People are inherently good, though, because, among other things, we have the notion to protect others. I agree that gun laws should exist, but I do not agree that we need more gun control laws. I believe that regarding the law, we are exactly where we should be at this point in time. We are not able, nor should we be, to access guns freely, but we are able to access them after a simple background check, at least here in Texas. If we were to have stricter laws, we would be infringing on our rights as Americans to protect ourselves.